A year ago, one of the biggest controversies in the Roblox community completely exploded, and at the center of it was a Roblox animator and YouTuber Potemer. The most serious allegations was that Potemer had a sexual relationship with a minor that quickly spread throughout the Roblox community, leading to expose videos, responses, arguments over screenshots and messages, and massive debate over who was actually telling the truth. But because this situation involves a minor, I'm going to keep the details non-graphic and focus on the controversy itself. So today we're going back to the beginning and looking at what happened during the Potemer drama. In early 2025, allegations involving Potemer and a minor began spreading online. The allegations were extremely serious, and people began sharing screenshots, messages, recordings, and other pieces of information that they claimed supported their side of the story. Naturally, this caused a massive reaction. Potemer had already built a large audience through his Roblox animation content, so this wasn't some obscure creator that nobody knew. Thousands of people suddenly wanted answers, and eventually Potemer responded. Potemer disputed the way the allegations were being presented and gave his own explanation of what had happened. But instead of putting the controversy to rest, his response created even more discussion. Other creators began going through his statements and comparing them with the information that had already been circulating. Some people believe that Potemer's explanation, others argue that this response didn't adequately address the accusations. And that's when the drama really started exploding. Parlo gets involved. One of the biggest creators to cover the controversy was Parlo. Parlo released videos discussing the allegations and Potemer's response. One of his early videos argued that additional information contradicted parts of Potemer's defense, and because Parlo already had a large audience, his coverage brought even more attention to the situation. Suddenly, this wasn't just something being discussed on Twitter or Discord. It was becoming a massive YouTube controversy. People were making videos. People were making response videos to those videos, and then other creators started getting involved. Guamgo enters the drama. Another creator who covered the situation was Guamgo. Guamgo released videos discussing the allegations and the information surrounding Potemer. At this point, the situation had become a full-blown cycle. Someone would release a video, someone else would respond, and then somebody would find another screenshot. Then another response would come out, and the community would start arguing all over again. It seemed like there was new development every few days. And this is where things get complicated. There was a huge amount of information being circulated that the controversy, but not every screenshot or claim automatically proved the conclusion of people were drawing from it. Some people believe the audience strongly supported the allegations, and others believe certain pieces of evidence were being taken out of context or interpreted incorrectly, and that's why it's important to distinguish between an allegation and an established fact. The allegation was extremely serious, but when you're covering a controversy like this, you shouldn't simply say this happened because someone on Twitter said it happened. You have to look at the evidence was actually presented and what each side said about the evidence. Eventually, the controversy expanded beyond Potemer himself. Other creators became involved, and there were arguments over how the situation was being covered. There were also claims involving legal threats. Parlo eventually released another video discussing allegations that Potemer and his mother had threatened to legal action against another creator. At this point, the original controversy had turned into a much larger conflict involving multiple people, and the Roblox community was completely divided. Regardless of where you stood on the controversy, there was no denying that it had a massive impact on Potemer's reputation. Before all of this, many people primarily knew him as a Roblox animator. Afterward, his name became heavily associated with the controversy, and the situation continued to follow him months after the original allegations appeared. By this point, the story had gone far beyond Roblox animation. It had become one of the biggest Roblox YouTube controversies of the year. So why did the situation become so massive? I think there are a few reasons. First, the allegations were extremely serious. Second, Potemer already had a large audience. And third, there was so many people discussing the situation that it became difficult for the average viewer to figure out what was actually happening. You had Potemer's statements, you had videos from Parlo, you had videos from Glamgo, you had people defending Potemer, you have people criticizing him, and you have thousands of people arguing about screenshots and messages. Eventually, it became almost impossible to separate the original controversy from all the arguments that developed around it. Looking back at Potemer's drama now, there's one thing I think everyone can agree on. This situation was incredibly serious. When allegations this serious involve a minor, people should not treat him like an ordinary Roblox Twitter drama. At the same time, people shouldn't automatically assume that every claim made online is proven simply because it's being repeated thousands of times. The best thing you can do is look at the available evidence, listen to the responses from the people involved, and distinguish between what's confirmed, what's disputed, and what's simply being claimed. And most importantly, don't harass anyone involved. Don't spread private information, and don't turn a serious situation into entertainment at the expense of people involved. And that's the story of the Potemer drama. It started with serious allegations in early 2025, eventually turned into one of the biggest controversies in the Roblox YouTube community. There were accusations, responses, and exposed videos, counter arguments in months of people debating what actually happened. Even a year later, it's still a controversy that gets brought up whenever people discuss major Roblox YouTube scandals. But what do you guys think? Did you think the Potemer drama when it originally happened? And do you think the situation was handled properly by the people involved? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe for more Roblox news, drama, and retrospectives. I'll see you guys in the next one.
It's just a cigarette and a